And when you look they're on a massive base of concrete that's topped with granite, and it's a sturdy base, and it's very metaphoric to what we're trying to do, because these gentlemen have provided the base for what we're trying to do athletically, both in the classroom and on the field. So I would appreciate a big round of applause for Reese Smith and John Stanford for kind of what they've done. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you. And former players, we love you. Thanks for coming back.
Well, you don't have to look far around this campus, and particularly around our athletic physical plant, to know the impact that the Smith family has had on Blue Raider athletics. I can remember way back in the 80s, Steve, when I was a freshman and this ballpark was open. And those two men, John Stanford was the first man to have the vision of what college baseball could be, because this field was the first lit college baseball field in the state of Tennessee. It was John's vision and Mr. Reese's resources that helped make that happen, his power, his energy, and those two were partners in crime in a very good way as they work through these projects. So it's been such a fun time to know the Smith family and to know the Stanford family, and to see what we're doing here today to recognize both of them. And to close out our remarks, I'd like to welcome up Stephen Smith.
Those words would all be music to my mother's ears. I'm not sure they're true, but they would be pleasing to my mother. Thanks for coming to celebrate this MTSU athletics event. I want to double recognize, a little bit redundant, my family, Denise, Stephen, my new daughter Allison, Matt, Reese III, my brother, of course, Emily, Reese IV, and his wife-to-be, Shay, and Lindsay are here, and I'm appreciative of that, and I know you guys are. Also, I want a little special recognition for Tommy and Judy and Scott Smith. While not related by blood, we are family. The Smiths have been partners for 50 years, and they are major donors in this effort. To my knowledge, never had anything but a handshake agreement in 50 years, and never a crossword, which is unbelievable in the world we live in. I also want to thank Dr. McPhee for letting us do this. It's your school and you're the boss. And I realize that, and have always respected that you're the boss, and I appreciate you doing it. And I appreciate Chris letting us do this and convincing Dr. McPhee that this was a good project. It is going to be kind of the showcase of the university and something significant addition to our campus. Small anecdote, these statues and this stadium wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Tommy Smith. And I'll relay a small story. In 1973, Tommy Smith said to my dad, "Why don't you and Steve come up and talk to Coach Murphy?" I'd been run off from another school, and they were kind of looking for a place. We talked to Coach Murphy, and Coach Murphy said, "Why don't we go down the hall and talk to the new baseball coach? We just hired a new one." That happened to be John Stanford. And I guess the rest is history. But I'm sure there would be a stadium, but it wouldn't be named Reese Smith. And I'm sure there'd be statues, but it wouldn't be these two if Tommy hadn't made that happen. That's a small but neat deal. While these men were two completely different men, I can't imagine more opposites than John Stanford and Reese Smith. But they changed scores of lives in completely different ways. Many of us here tonight, myself most of all, are products of these men. Denise and I worried for a whole year what the inscription on the statues would say. So I encourage you to read them carefully. Every word was cussed and discussed by Denise and my boys. For thousands of years, we memorialized our heroes and idols with statues. Our hope now and then is that the bronze and granite will stand longer than flesh, and the memories will capture a small spark that might influence another life. Most people won't remember how Stanford looked or how Pop looked, but our dream is that others will be motivated to leave this a better spot and to make this school better. I'm grateful for your attendance. I'm grateful for Dr. McPhee and Chris for letting us do this. I'm grateful for the Smiths, and let's go beat Vanderbilt.
All right, now we get our fancy logistics going here. We need the Stanford family over here in front of this one. We need the Smith family in front of this statue. We're ready to make the unveiling. So, Steve, Denise, do want to make mention. I talked about Coach Stanford's vision for college baseball. There's an awful lot, if you live in this area, there's an awful lot of talk about the new stadium for the Sounds in Nashville. I would put forth that if it were not for the efforts of Reese Smith, along with Larry Schmittou and a couple of other families back in the mid-1970s, that stadium wouldn't be going up now, because they were the ones that brought pro baseball back to Middle Tennessee. So we've got two great anchors of our program here. So we've got some fine folks here ready to unveil this. What we're going to ask you to do, I'm going to count down from 5, and when we hit 0, I want to hear a loud, loud "Go Blue Raiders," and when that happens, the tarps are going to come off. Here we go. What we've been waiting for a long, long time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go Blue Raiders! We do want to ask the families if they would stick around for photographs. Otherwise, we need your tails in the stadium. And get loud tonight, folks.